Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first lesson of the iBUG Introductory Mac Training course. Today is September 7th, 2021, and I'm the instructor, Chanel Allen. Before we get actually into the class, I want to take a few minutes to tell you about iBUG, since I think some of you are new to us, and then we'll go around, and my question for today will be, what is one thing you hope to gain from this course? What is one thing you want to learn on the Mac? All right, so iBUG today, we are the iBlind Users Group. We're a nonprofit organization with the mission of promoting the educational development, individual independence, and social integration of the blind and visually impaired community. And we do this through providing trainings, both group and individual trainings with the one-on-one mentoring program for people learning their iOS devices. There are a number of ways you can learn about us. By the way, all of our training is provided entirely free. There's no cost. So to begin, you could go to our website, which is ibugtoday.org. And one great thing about our website, you can register to receive our announcements, and then you'll know about upcoming events. We offer both training and social events, about 23 events per month. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll just tell you what's coming up. And on our website, you can also listen to recordings of our previous trainings. There is our Facebook and social media. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/ibugtoday, or we have a Facebook group where people like to ask questions and exchange information in between events. That is facebook.com/groups/ibugtoday. All of our announcements are posted to Facebook and Twitter, all of our social media. So on Twitter and Instagram, we have the handle at iBugToday. And what's great about Twitter is, in addition to just following us, if you don't have Twitter, you can go to twitter.com/iBugToday to read our tweets. Your TA, Herbie Allen, is also our Twitter master, and he posts lots of great Apple information, whether it's tech news, rumors, deals, lots of Mac how-to guides, and more, plus our announcements, so be sure to check us out there. All right, that is our website and social media. We also do have a YouTube page. If you just look for iBug Today on YouTube, all of our previous trainings are posted there. And we do offer one podcast through Spotify, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, your podcast app of choice, or smart speaker if you look for iBug Buzz. Okay, I'm probably missing some things there, but I'm sure one of my helpful assistants, Herbie is our TA, and Michael came in to say a few words. They'll let me know if I missed something. In terms of things we have going on this week, on Thursday, our Vila Book Club meets. We will be discussing the book, The President is Missing, by Bill Clinton and the other author I'm forgetting, James Patterson. And that DB is DB 91164. That takes place from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Central on our Zoom channel. And that info is on our website. It is different from that you're using to access this class. All of our trainings are offered on one Zoom thing, and this meeting is another. On Friday, we have iBug Night at the Virtual Movies. This week's movie is called All About Eve. It begins at 7:30 with a pre-movie social, followed by the movie at 8 and discussion afterwards. The iBug Night at the Virtual Movies, Friday night at the Virtual Movies began last year. After the COVID started and people were at home, and it's been a really popular event. On Sunday, we have our iBug Cafe, where one of our members and one of the students in this class, Sri, will be talking about music services like Apple Music and Spotify. The cafe is a deep dive training into an app or group of apps, and so you really get to go into detail the ins and outs of using those apps. That is from 4 to 6 p.m. on Sunday. And then on Monday, we have our iBUG Buzz. That's always every Monday from 7:30 to 9:30. But this upcoming one is really special because it's our 500th. Yay! That's 10 years of answering questions. The iBUG Buzz is for anyone with iOS questions or iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, all those iDevice questions, or who wants to become more proficient with the accessibility features. So anyway, we are going to be having our 500th celebration on Monday. Okay, that I think is it for the the iBug stuff. Now let's transition to our questions. So I am going to be asking, what is one thing you want to gain from this class? Just a little bit of background about me. I have been using a Mac since 2013. My first Mac was a 2012 MacBook Pro, and then a few years ago, I just have purchased a 2017. But in the beginning, I just mainly used the Mac to run Windows. And I was okay with it. But then I was asked to teach this class. And so it was a great opportunity for me to really learn the Mac, really get to appreciate the Mac for what the Mac had to offer. And so learning, whether you're starting out or you're further on, it goes in stages. And I find the more I teach this class, the more I learn, the more I hear from you, I learn. So we are all in it together. Okay. So we do have, we don't use the raised hand here. What we do is have people unmute and then you'll say your name. Wait to be acknowledged. This is actually when you're asking a question or making a comment, and then make that comment. And then when you're done, you go back on mute. To toggle mute on your Mac, it's Command Shift A. If you're on your iPhone, it's in the lower left-hand corner. On the PC, it is Alt A, and on the telephone, it is *6. So now if you just want to go around and say who you are, where you're calling from, and what you hope to gain from this class. And you should be able to unmute now. There you go. Hello.
Hello. I'm Michelle Trainum, and I purchased a MacBook Air in 2013, and I had just retired, and for about a year, I got really good training on it and kind of limped along here and there, back and forth with Windows on my laptop. And then I had grandchildren. I haven't done much with it in the last few years. So eventually I would like to get where I'm from just mainly Mac user. I really like the Mac much better than dealing with Windows and regular laptop. And so I just want to get where I can go back to doing emails and just daily things. Now that I'm retired, I don't have so much stuff I have to do, but I really want to get more proficient.
All right. Well, that's awesome.
Unlearn what I probably learned wrong in the beginning, which will be the hardest part.
Oh, I'm sure there's so many ways of doing things on the Mac that it may not necessarily be wrong. It just might be different. So anyway, thank you so much, Michelle. And I assume you're the 512 number.
I am, yes.
Okay, great.
And next time I'll do the regular Zoom. I did the one-tap mobile, so I'm used to doing the other, so I'll do that next time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi, this is Judy.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, so I'm from Connecticut, and I've had my Mac since December, a MacBook Air, and I just haven't gotten it yet. It just hasn't clicked, and so many people have been trying to help me with it diligently. So my goal is to just really be able to navigate around comfortably, and what I really love doing will be like the Amadeus and the hijack, auditing and editing. That's going to probably be my favorite thing, but I want to use the Mac for everything. So
that's awesome. Hey, that's what I'm learning now too, is the Amadeus and the audio hijack. So we're right in the same place. There we go.
Yay. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Doc, right?
Okay, Doc, go ahead.
In Colorado. I have a MacBook Air also. Mine I got refurbished back the second week of July. I did have an iMac many moons ago, but it was so old. It was so. I give you an idea. The main speech was Fred.
Oh boy. All
But
right.
my purpose for getting going on here is I've been doing tech support for almost 20 years now. But I wanted to get into the Mac side so that I can add that. And all my tech support is all pro bono because since I learned fast, I figured I might as well use it to help use the knowledge I've been given to help others.
That is really awesome. Great.
This is Darryl.
Hi, Darryl.
I'm in California, so I'm on the other side of the coast here. I've been a Mac user for, gosh, almost forever. My first Mac was a Mac Plus, but I was sighted. And so when it came time to actually get the Department of Rehabilitation to help me out, I decided to stick with the Mac because I felt like I knew that better and learned the VoiceOver rather than going a PC and JAWS. But it has not been that easy. I totally get lost on my Mac Air. I'm proficient with my iPhone, and that's what I'm on now. I feel comfortable there and actually do a little mentoring with people that need some help with that. But when it comes to the Mac, I just get totally lost in where I am, where things are. I'll stumble upon old things that I want to delete, and I can't figure out how to delete them, and I'll come back to them later, and then I can't find them. So I need help.
Getting lost in the Finder. All right. Well, we'll be able to help you with that, definitely. I'm glad you're here.
Elvia.
Hi, Elvia.
Hi, this is Elvia, and I live also in California. And I've gotten this Mac about, I want to say January, February of this year. So I had the one with the M1 chip on it with Big Sur. And like a lot of you, I don't really know anything about. I've been a Windows PC for years and years. I do my business on the Windows with Excel. I know how to do the emails. I've never been good with internet. But now that I'm also starting school this fall, I wanted to get this Mac for school, but I don't know anything about Pages, which is what I want to learn, how to create documents, files, and folders. I want to learn how to do the emails. Of course, I have an email for school set up in here, but I had help with it, but I don't remember how I even did it. And I definitely want to learn how to navigate Safari or another internet engine. And I want to kind of start veering away from, I want to separate the two, personal for the Mac and business for the PC.
Okay.
Because in the business world, everybody uses PCs, but not too much in the Mac world, you know? So that's what I want.
Great. Well, we won't be covering Pages in this class, but we will be covering enough VoiceOver navigation, so you should be able to get around and manipulate that. So great. I'm glad you're here.
My name is Donna. Sorry.
Hi, Donna.
And I'm from North Carolina. And I bought my MacBook Air at the end of July. So I've had it for about 5 weeks.
Okay.
And I'm learning things every day, but my goal right now is to become comfortable with email and web surfing, web browsing, and some word processing.
Great.
My name is Marvin.
Hi, Marvin.
I'm from Chicago. I have a MacBook Pro. Had it since about February. I've been playing on it, but I still run back to the PC, and I want to stop that. I want to get into music, editing, mixing, playing music, and of course the emails, so I can get into all of that.
Great. Oh, that's a Mac. People love their Macs and for the music, and the speakers are great. And that sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Cliff.
Hi, Cliff.
How you doing, Chanel?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I live in Minnesota, but I actually am from Chicago. I only mentioned that since he said he was.
Okay.
I was actually born in Chicago. I didn't move to Minnesota until I was about 5. But anyway, I've been using the Mac since about 2012. I'm self-taught. I'm in this class to find out what I don't know. I don't know it all, and I never will. But I have always been told by my mentors that can never learn too much. And
Exactly.
I had a teacher in school that told me I got 3 degrees, but I still don't know enough. So I joined this class hoping to get accepted, and I did. So now I'm here, and I want to find out. I have a job coach who always says you always know what you don't know what you don't know. So I want to know what I don't know.
Yep, aren't we all in that position? I know I have lots to learn in that way too. So thank you and welcome. Okay.
Hi, it's Sarah
Hi,
from
Sarah.
Vermont. Hi, Chanel. I'm mostly a writer, and I text and email, of course, as well, well, maybe not, of course, but I've been mostly working on an iPad, and I just got a MacBook Air a few months ago, and I just really need to step up my game. I traded in my iMac, which is a 27-inch, and I don't have any usable vision anymore. 27 inches was great when I had low vision, not anymore. So I went smaller so that I could, partly so I wouldn't even be tempted to cheat. But I'm looking at it now and I can't see it. So it doesn't matter how small it is. But I can carry it around. So I would love to just get as much as I can from whoever I'm listening to. And that would be you, Chanel, now. And I do work on pages quite a bit. But I don't think the fact that you're not going to be teaching pages, I don't think is going to stop anything, because what you're teaching is how to get around.
Yep.
And that's what I need.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you, and thank you.
Thanks.
This is Anna from Pennsylvania.
Hi, Anna.
Hello. So I got my M1 Mac in May of this year, and I've wanted to be, because I've used Windows before, so I want to get more familiar with my Mac and everything that I can do with it, like music and writing and just all kinds of stuff.
That's awesome. Great. Well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is Sri.
Hi, Sri.
I've got a Mac, been using it for a couple of years. I guess I'm going to say I want to get around, but I want to get around the most efficient way. And I'm sure the way I do now, I'm going the longest path to get to my end. And hopefully with this class, I'll go directly to the end instead of hopping around.
All right, great. Well, we're all learning how to do things the most efficient way. So join the club, but hopefully we'll be able to help you with that in this class. So thank you. All right, I think that's everyone. I know Michael can't, well, Herbie, did you want to speak? And then Michael can say what he came to say.
All right, guys, this is Herbie Allen. I am your teacher's assistant. For those of you, I'm assuming you all read my email, but in case you didn't, I started off as you guys, as a student a couple years ago in the first official Mac class. And I was a Windows user for the last 20 years, but there are some things that really attracted me to the Mac. Audio quality, iMessages, whatnot. And so those were motivating factors for me to learn it. And I took in the class, felt like I was fumbling around the few times I used the Mac, but I just kept working at it little by little. And then I just got to a point where I was really ready to fully embrace the Mac, and that's how I became, a lot better at it. Would I say I'm an expert? No, but I do know how to use the machine, and now I actually run two different clubs. And I am familiar with some of the extra apps that a lot of you were talking about that you want to use. Definitely Audio Hijack, Amadeus Pro, and once you learn the Mac basics, those apps are going to make a lot more sense to you. For instance, I remember playing with Audio Hijack when I barely knew my way around the Mac, and it was so confusing, I thought. But as I got more comfortable with the Mac, Audio Hijack began to make much more sense in terms of just having to perform operations. And so don't be discouraged if you don't get something right away. There are plenty of resources. I do run two different clubs to help you all out, and well, not just you all, but anybody on Clubhouse. The first and third Wednesday, we have the iBUG Mini Buzz from 5 to 7, and then I also run an Mac Users Club on every Thursday from 11:30 to 1, and that is the Blind Mac / iOS Users Club. And you can also just follow me or Chanel and find it that way on Clubhouse. And of course, we also have the open Mac and Talk sessions, the fourth Tuesday of every month, right here on iBUG as well. So those are some excellent additional resources. I will definitely help out anybody that needs it outside of class within limits, but you do have to still come to class. And ultimately Chanel is the actual teacher. I am just helping her out in the best ways that I can, and that is pretty much all that I have to say.
Great, thank you. We're glad to have Herbie along. Herbie's help. So, all right, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Chanel. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Michael McCullough, president of iBUG, and I just wanted to stop by and just kind of greet everyone here and welcome you. Thank you for participating in our iBUG introductory Mac training. I can't remember how many we've actually done now. Chanel has led.
I think this is our fourth or fifth.
Yeah, I think so too. Like Herbie, I was in one of the earlier ones a couple of years ago. What I like about the Mac, and I can't remember who it was in California, Darryl, I think it was, used a Mac for quite a while as a sighted user, which I also did, but then kind of put it aside after I lost my vision and never got back into it again until just a few years ago. But especially now, to be able to seamlessly go from my phone or iPad to the Mac and have, notes and messages and mail and all of that just work seamlessly. And I just really love that part about it. One thing I wanted to mention, I know there's several people that are more experienced Mac users. And, we didn't clarify, this is a introductory Mac training, and it's intended for beginner users. But since we didn't clarify, we went ahead and let everybody go ahead and stay in the course. But what I would like to request from you guys that are more experienced to please allow the newbies to have preference on, support and asking questions and that kind of thing, just because it is intended for the new user. So if you would help facilitate that, that would just be awesome. And I think things would move along real smoothly. Chanel is a really excellent instructor, and all of the training sessions, the last semester's training sessions, are available on our YouTube channel. I can't remember if Herbie mentioned that or not, but so that's always a good place to go and get the information. And of course, you guys, these training sessions here will be recorded, and Chanel will be providing those as part of your ongoing study guide. So anyway, that's really all I wanted to say. And again, welcome everybody, and hope you guys enjoy the next, what is it, 10 weeks, 12 weeks? I can't remember now.
12 weeks, yep.
12, next 12
It'll go by
weeks.
super fast.
Yeah, it sure will. And she's got lots there to keep everyone busy. So, and I hope to get to know those that I don't know right now a little bit better as time goes on. And yeah, invite you, as Chanel has already said, to any of our other training or social events. We have, tons of them. So just check us out on ibugtoday.org. So that's it, Chanel.
Great,
I'm going
thank you.
to go ahead and drop off and
All right.
turn it over. Bye.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. So I'm just going to go over a couple of things real quick with the syllabus, and then we will get into our lesson. So the main things with the syllabus, just note I did mention office hours. So next week, if you come at 6:30 Central, that's half an hour before the lesson, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. You can always ask on our student email list or our class email list, or just email me or Herbie. But the best places to ask are actually to come to office hours. And the email list is good too, because then other people get a chance to answer. And so I have mentioned focus questions and recording. So those will be sent out after this lesson. So once we're done today, I'll be sending out the recording, a link to the recording, which is on Dropbox. And that will include focus questions, and written answers to those are not required. It's just kind of a way to help you see what you can pick up from the lesson material. And then at the first 15 minutes of class each week, I pick a few of those questions to ask, and anybody can answer. It's just a great way for you to see what you know, and for me to see what I didn't explain very well. The reading assignments, I do recommend completing before each lesson if you can. I know everyone's busy, but you'll really get the greatest benefit from completing them before and then maybe reviewing them after, a week or two after. I know that's a lot, but I think that could be helpful. And in terms of learning the Mac, I've already pretty much said what's in the syllabus. I would just focus on learning the Mac for the Mac's sake. There's going to be not limitations, but things you might be able to do in one operating system that you can't in another, or you might think something is easier on your phone or whatever, and that's fine. If something is easier, just try to learn what it is that the Mac does well and what it is that the Mac does well for you. And then just take it in small steps. Try to accomplish, let's say, one task on the Mac every day, even if it's just turning VoiceOver on and getting into keyboard help, which we will be going into. This first lesson I have pre-recorded. That's something new we're trying. And it will be covering some very, very basic material. Just, how to get VoiceOver started. Well, I'll be going through what it's going to cover. But does anybody have any questions about the syllabus before we actually get into the lesson? All right.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute my audio.
Okay, no
Sorry about
problem,
that. This is
Elvia.
Elvia.
Okay.
Yes. And what I did see the reading material, like I think it was somebody who said, who was it? Not Darryl. I think it was one person who said it's a lot of information, and I just felt a little overwhelmed with just too much reading information. Like, oh my gosh, go here to do this, and go here if you want to know more, and go here if you want to know more. Like, if I had to just go through all these different links, I wouldn't need to be in class. I would just self-teach myself. But
right.
I need to know not just to the command. Like I need to understand how does this benefit me, kind of thing. So that was one of the things that I found with the syllabus. But other than that, I like the fact that it has those to go to after our class, kind of when we get into them, to say, that makes sense now. I get it.
Definitely. Yeah. And you'll find the best way to use that for you. Okay, great. Does anyone have any actual questions? Or if not, I will get started. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we will share my audio. And here we go.
You have started
with the audio, and then I will play the recording. And Herbie, can you please check to make sure that the mute is on for everyone? Thank you. Okay. Hello everyone. Today we are going to cover some voiceover basics, beginning with how to toggle it on and off, then going into keyboard help to talk about the placement of a few. All right, I realize that volume might not be quite what you, if that's a little bit too quiet. So here we go. Hello everyone. Today we are going to cover some voiceover basics, beginning with how to toggle it on and off, then going into keyboard help to talk about the placement of a few important keys and to practice that later on. Then we will go to the voiceover tutorial so you get the hang of how that works. We'll then switch to talking about the 3 components of the Mac screen and how to use the trackpad and voiceover commands to get to those areas. I'll then discuss the new notification and control centers in macOS Big Sur, and finally, if there's time, show you how to adjust speech attributes using the keyboard and trackpad. So to begin, I'm going to go to my desktop, which is what I like to think of as kind of the home screen or home base. I'm using VO Shift D, and you will understand what that is in just a minute.
Desktop group.
Now that we are at
Actions
the desktop,
available.
and I do apologize, I cut off the voiceover speech, but there are several ways to toggle voiceover on and off. If you're using a Mac without a touch bar or just an external keyboard, you can hold down Command and press and release the F5 key. If you're using a Mac with a touch bar, and Macs built since 2016 have them, at least the MacBook Airs and Pros. I think the latest models of the Airs don't, but my Mac is a 2017 MacBook Pro 15-inch, and it does have a touch bar. So anyway, you hold down the command and press in the Touch ID sensor 3 times. You could also ask Siri to turn on VoiceOver if that is set up. And I'm sure you could also go into system preferences and accessibility and turn VoiceOver on that way. But we're just going to use the keyboard. I'm going to press in the Command key and then press F5. That will toggle VoiceOver off, and then I'll turn it back on again. This should be review for most of you.
VoiceOver off.
All right, it's off. Let's toggle it back on.
VoiceOver on Finder, desktop, Mac recordings, alias. Actions available. You are currently on alias. To open, press Control, Option, Space.
The VoiceOver hint includes where we are, which is the desktop, what item has focus, which is the Mac recordings alias, and what actions we could take on that item. The VoiceOver hints are sometimes helpful, but more often than not, kind of irrelevant because VoiceOver doesn't always know exactly what you want to do. But that's not so important right now. Let's move on to keyboard help. I'm going to open that with VOK, and you'll understand what that is in just a minute. So here we go, VOK.
Starting keyboard help. Type keys to hear their names. Hold down the VoiceOver keys while typing to hear VoiceOver commands. Press the Escape key at the top left corner of the keyboard to stop help.
I'm actually going to cover 2 keyboard layouts, the first being the inbuilt keyboard of my MacBook Pro, beginning at the bottom left key. Before we go there, I just want to point out the trackpad is below the keyboard. I'll find my space bar, which is this really large vertical key, and then move my finger down an inch,
Touch.
and find the trackpad, and it says Touch. Okay, there we go. We will begin with the bottom left-hand key, which is FN, or function.
FN, Tyviet letter Lovo.
Moving to the right, we have control.
Control.
Moving to the right again, we have option.
Option.
Moving to the right, we have
Command.
and then space.
Space.
The keys to the right of the space bar begin with command. So the first key to the right of the space bar is command. I do apologize, my trackpad is very sensitive. And unlike on my early MacBook Pro 2012, there is no definitive barrier between the keyboard and the trackpad. So it's quite easy to accidentally touch the trackpad. So the first key to the right of spacebar is command.
Command.
The key to the right of that is option.
Option.
And then we have the arrow keys.
Touch.
On these inbuilt Mac keyboards, we have these square arrow keys that are left and right, and then the up and down are these little horizontal keys. So to the right of the option. Was left arrow.
Left arrow.
And then down arrow.
Down arrow.
Above that we have up arrow.
Up arrow.
And the very bottom right-hand key is right arrow.
Right arrow.
So I'm just going to be quiet, and this time I will let you hear the keys going from left to right, beginning with the bottom left.
FN. Herbie Allen is the Lovo. Control. Option. Command. Space. Command. Option. Left arrow. Up arrow. Down arrow. Right arrow.
Okay, that is the keyboard. Now I want to talk about modifiers. A modifier is a key that modifies the behavior of another key. Take, for instance, a letter such as B. If you press it by itself, it's just a
Touch.
B. Oops, sorry, but if you add the shift to it, becomes a capital B. We have modifiers both for VoiceOver and the Mac. The VoiceOver modifiers allow us to use commands to navigate or go to menus or whatever. They control VoiceOver. And those are either Control and Option or Caps Lock. The Control and Option keys are the second and third to the left of the space bar. If we press the space bar and then move left, we have space. The first key to the left of space is command. The second key to the left of space is option. The third key to the left of space is control. And then you have the FN key.
Tyviet letter Lovo.
So think of the VO keys or voiceover keys as the second and third keys to the left of the spacebar. Another option for the voiceover modifier is caps lock, which is 2 keys above the FN key. So you have FN. Moving up, you have shift. And then up again, you have caps lock. If you go too far, you have tab. I prefer using the caps lock because it is similar to the modifier I use in well, it's the same one. Windows screen reader use the caps lock, and it's just one less key to press. When you actually want to use caps for caps lock, you press it twice. And if VO seems to get stuck, dinging or whatever, sometimes if I hold in the caps lock key, it will release and then VO will work normally. Sometimes you just have to stop VO and restart it again to make it cooperate. But that doesn't happen too often. So your VO keys are the second and third away from the space bar, or 2 up from the FN key. The Mac keyboard modifier is the command key. So command N is for new, command P is for print, command up arrow goes to the top of a document. And so most of your Mac commands begin with the command key. I like to differentiate between VoiceOver and Mac commands, and you'll understand why as the course goes on. Let's move to talking about the top row of the keyboard. On my Mac, it is a touch bar, and later on I'll talk about the external keyboard, but beginning with the very top left-hand corner, we have Escape.
Escape button.
And I'm just going to slide my finger along from left to right. This is a horizontal strip of icons that you can navigate as you would the touch screen of your iOS device.
Volume.
Oops, I don't know where that came up. So here we go. We have Escape.
Escape button.
Moving to the right.
Back dimmed button. Forward dim icon view touch bar popover. Show button. Share touch bar popover. Tag touch bar popover. Display expand control strip button. Display brightness up button. Audio output mute off button. Siri button.
And that is the touch bar. Now if I hold down my FN key, we'll see something different. Next week, I will show you how to go into System Preferences and control what is shown on the touch bar and what happens when you press the FN key. But for now, here's what happens when I press FN. And then slide my finger along, as I was doing before.
Escape button. F1 key button. F2 key F3 key F4 key F5 button. F6 key F7 key F8 key F9 key F10 key F11 key F12 key button.
Okay, so when we hold down Fn, we have the F1 through F12 keys. And that is the touch bar. Let's say I wanted to find F7. I wouldn't necessarily have to go slide my finger along. I could just put my finger anywhere where I think it might be.
Tag touch bar pop over.
Oh, oops, I need to hold down the Fn key.
F7 key button.
And I happen to find it, but let's say, oh, I actually wanted to find F3. Well, I could just flick left rather than sliding my finger.
Siri, mute off button.
Oh,
FN.
I keep forgetting I have to hold down the Fn key. Mine is normally set up a little bit differently, but you get the idea. You can either slide your finger along or flick as you would on an iOS device and then do a one finger double tap to activate the control. Now we'll switch to talking about my Apple external keyboard with numeric keypad. This keyboard differs from the inbuilt one in a number of ways. Let's just begin with the bottom left-hand key.
Control.
Which right away you notice the first difference. You just have control. You don't have Fn at the bottom left. So again, moving from left to right, we have control.
Control. Option. Command. Space.
And then to the right of space.
Command. Option. Control.
Okay, so another difference is that the control keys are on both sides of the space bar. Then you do have a tiny little space and you have the typical inverted T arrow keys. So you have
Left arrow, right arrow,
and then up and down in the middle.
up arrow, down arrow.
And then to the far right, you have the numeric keypad. I like this full-size keyboard because I do like
Control.
using the numeric keypad. I use it with Windows, but you can also control VoiceOver that way. I also like having the 6-pack of keys, which is in between the QWERTY keyboard and the numeric keypad. On your 6-pack, the first top left key is actually the Fn key.
Tyviet letter Lovo.
So you do have an Fn key, it's just in a different location. Then you have your home and page up keys on the top.
Home, page up.
And your end and page down keys on the bottom of the 6-pack.
End, page down.
And then, as I said, you have the numeric keypad. Also, we still have the row of function keys, but they're actual keys. So if I just press F1, F2, you're not hearing anything because they are not set to speak or do anything until I hold down the Fn key.
Fn.
Then we get our typical F1,
F1, F2,
all the way through F12.
F12.
And to the right of F12, still holding down Fn,
Eject.
is eject. And then we have 7 additional function keys.
F13, F14.
All the way through F19.
F19.
And that 6-pack I was talking about kind of actually looks more like a 9-pack because you have the F13 through 15 keys above it. That is the keyboard layout. I can't really help you with any non-Apple keyboards, but hopefully you get an idea. And if your keyboard is different, Keyboard Help is a great place to go to press those keys to find out where they are and what they do. Now I'll show you how you can use the keyboard to learn voiceover commands. It's not the most ideal, but you can still just kind of get an idea of the range of what you can do with voiceover. If I press VOD,
Caps lock, D, go to dock, moves voiceover cursor to the dock.
or I could do
Control, Option, D, go to dock, moves voiceover cursor to the dock.
So you see, VoiceOver, the either Control and Option or Caps Lock do the same thing. From here on out, I'll be using Caps Lock. I will tell you when it is more ergonomic or when I find it more ergonomic to use Control and Option, but just assume I'll be using Caps Lock.
Caps lock, M, go to menu bar, moves voiceover cursor to the menu bar.
Or you can do
Caps lock, Shift, D, go to desktop, moves voiceover cursor to the desktop.
So sometimes VoiceOver keys use not only the VoiceOver modifier, but other modifier keys in conjunction with that. Oops, I didn't mean to press Tab. You also have
Caps lock, A, read contents of voiceover cursor, reads the contents of the item in the voiceover cursor.
Or
Caps lock, H, open voiceover help menu, brings up the general help guide for voiceover.
Now I'm going to press a Mac command.
Command, N.
Or let's try Command
Command, P.
Okay, what we're hearing are just the keys themselves. Since this is VoiceOver Keyboard Help, it does not actually tell us what the Mac commands are. And there is no keyboard help to learn Mac commands. But just note that keyboard help only works to learn the function of VoiceOver keys and what they do. You can press any key, but it will only tell you what the VoiceOver commands are. Or we can even press
4.
Okay, those are the numbers on the number pad, but anyway, you get the idea. I'm now going to press Escape to exit keyboard help.
Escape, stopping keyboard help.
Let's talk about the VoiceOver tutorial. There are a number of ways to get there. There's a long convoluted command, which is VO command F8. That launches it directly. If you don't want to use the touch bar, or if you'd rather use the number row, in later versions of the Mac OS, you can actually hold down the FN key and use the numbers on the number row, 1 through, and then the equal sign to simulate F1 through F12. And so the VoiceOver tutorial would be VO command FN8, as we will hear when we go into VoiceOver Help. I'm now going to open the VoiceOver Help menu with VOH. Then I will use the down arrow key to navigate to the Quick Start tutorial. There's just a couple of things I want to mention quickly here. I will be very explicit when I actually press a VO modifier. But when I say down arrow by itself or letter by itself, that means I'm only using that letter or that arrow key. And here we go. VOH. Oh yes, I forgot the other thing. I use Quick Nav off most of the time. Quick Nav is another way of using VoiceOver, and I have it off unless I am in Safari. But again, I will be very explicit as to letting you know when it's on. So here we go. VOH.
VoiceOver Help menu 5 items.
And now let's press down arrow to locate the Quick Start tutorial.
User Guide Control Option ? Commands Help menu Control Option HH.
What's great about going into the VoiceOver menus, and as you'll see in a little bit, the Mac menus, is that, well, any menu item that has a keyboard command will give you that keyboard command. So this is a great way to learn those commands. Down arrow again.
Keyboard Help Control Option K.
And again.
Sound Help menu.
One more time, down arrow.
Quick Start Tutorial Control Option FN Command 8.
And there you hear that long convoluted finger thing, control or command, control option, whatever, FN 8. Let's press enter.
The VoiceOver Quick Start. In this Quick Start, you'll learn VoiceOver basics, as well as important VoiceOver commands to help you navigate on your Mac and use apps. You can exit the Quick Start at any time and finish it later. To advance through the Quick Start panels now, use the arrow keys located to the right of the main keyboard keys. On a portable computer, they're located in the bottom right corner of the keyboard. The up arrow and down arrow keys are positioned one above the other, with the left arrow and right arrow keys on either side. Now continue to the next panel by pressing the right arrow key. To exit at any time, press the Escape key. Panel 1 of 22.
Okay, so we know there are 22 sections. I'm going to press the right arrow now. The first few panels are just review of what we've already discussed.
Practice what you learn. Many Quick Start panels include an area where you can use VoiceOver to practice the commands you just learned about on the panel. The Quick Start plays a sound to indicate when practice begins and ends. When VoiceOver starts and is ready for practice, you will hear the following sound. When VoiceOver stops, you will hear the following sound. Now continue to the next panel by pressing the right arrow key. Panel 2 of 22.
I'm actually going to press right arrow twice so we can get to the practice area. When you go through this on your own, don't skip ahead, but I am going to now. And you may have already gone through this when you launched VoiceOver for the first time. If you did, then you're ahead of the game. If not, go ahead and do the tutorial. Or those of you who've already gone through it are welcome to review it.
The VoiceOver Keyboard Help. VoiceOver provides keyboard help for learning about the keys on your keyboard. After you start Keyboard Help, just press a key to hear its name. If you press the VoiceOver modifier at the same time, you hear the name of the VoiceOver command assigned to that key, and a brief description of the command. Use VoiceOver now to start keyboard help. Press VOK. When you're done, press the Escape key to exit keyboard help and return to the Quick Start. Then press the right arrow key to continue to the next panel.
All right, let's start the keyboard help, which we've already done. The main way to get through this tutorial is patience. Sometimes you have to wait until after VoiceOver is done making its sound and giving its prompt before you can actually carry out what it wants you to do. So we'll press VOK and then we'll wait a minute for the sound to play and VoiceOver to say we're in keyboard help.
Starting keyboard help. Type keys to hear their names. Hold down the VoiceOver keys while typing to hear VoiceOver commands. Press the Escape key at the top left corner of the keyboard to stop help.
All right, so we can press
F.
keys.
Caps D. Go to dock.
And
Moves
like we did
VoiceOver cursor to the
before,
dock. Control.
Let's press escape, and then I'm going to press escape again to get out. So I'm just going to press escape twice quickly. Well, it doesn't have to be quickly.
Escape. VoiceOver on Finder, Desktop, Dropbox,
Great,
Alias.
and now we're back at the desktop.
Actions available.
Which leads us into talking about the components of the Mac screen. As I said in my opening, there are 3 of them. Beginning at the top, we have the menu bar, which actually includes the menus and something called menu extras. So the menu bar always has the Apple menu, no matter what app you're in, followed by the menu of the app that you're in. So if you're in Finder, the second menu will be Finder. If you're in Mail, it's Mail, Safari, Safari, and so on. The menu bar contains most or pretty much all the commands that you need to operate an app. And what's great about the menu bar, as I mentioned, is the commands that have keyboard shortcuts will give those keyboard shortcuts. To the right of the menu bar is the menu extras or status menus, and that has your Wi-Fi status, battery, Bluetooth, date and time, plus any other apps that put themselves there, like Dropbox for me. Moving to the middle of the screen, we have the desktop, which is frequently used as a dumping ground for files and stuff, which is not a good idea, but most often the desktop will have icons to launch drives connected to your computer. I have what are called aliases on my desktop, which is another word for shortcuts, so that I can get to a folder quickly. For instance, my Dropbox folder or my iBUG folder. And you want to have a clutter-free desktop because the desktop runs in RAM memory. So the more that's there, the longer it will take to switch between the desktop and open apps. Okay, then on the bottom of the screen, we have the dock. That's my favorite part of the Mac because the dock has all of the icons you need to open commonly used apps. And in just a minute, I'll tell you how you can get to those areas. But just know that you have the menu bar on the top, the desktop in the middle, and the dock on the bottom. Why is the placement of these important, or why is it important that we know? Well, if we want to use the trackpad, we will touch areas of the trackpad corresponding to those areas on the screen. And to turn on the trackpad to use with VoiceOver, we have to do something. First, I'm going to turn it off because it's on.
Trackpad command.
Okay. So the trackpad, the way we use it with VoiceOver, it's called Trackpad Commander. And a commander basically either extends the functionality of VoiceOver or is another way to basically do the same thing. So you have the keyboard and you can do the same things that you would, like go to your dock, your menu bar, using the trackpad instead of the keyboard or the numpad. So to enable Trackpad Commander, we actually need to hold down the VO keys and do the twist, or the rotor finger twist. Sometimes it feels like a twist. It's like turning a dial with your fingers, and it's the same way you use the rotor on your iOS device. I'm going to hold down my VO or caps lock key, and I have found my trackpad. I've kind of put my thumb in this groove on the bottom of my hand. The fingers just land on the trackpad, and so I'll turn them to the right.
Trackpad Commander on.
Now, in order to practice trackpad gestures, I'm going to bring up keyboard help again with VOK.
Starting keyboard help. Type keys to hear their names. Hold down the VoiceOver keys while typing to hear VoiceOver commands. Press the Escape key at the top left corner of the keyboard to stop help.
In addition then to learning the keyboard keys, you can also use the trackpad or the keyboard help to learn the trackpad. We'll just begin with something I wanted to do right away, a 2-finger tap.
2-finger tap, pause or resume speaking, pauses or resumes speaking.
And that's the first gesture that we can also do on iOS. You can also basically flick.
Flick right, moves the voiceover cursor right. Flick left, moves the voiceover cursor left.
Or
touch,
which you've heard me accidentally do a few times. So you can touch, you can do a 1-finger double tap.
Double tap, perform action for item, performs the default action on the item in the voiceover cursor.
You can flick 2 fingers down.
2-finger flick down, read contents of voiceover cursor, reads the contents of the item in the voiceover cursor.
You can do your 3-finger gestures as well.
3-finger tap, speak current page in scroll area, speaks the currently displayed scroll page.
Here's a couple of useful gestures with 3 fingers. A 3-finger double tap.
3-finger double tap, mute voiceover toggle, toggles whether voiceover speech and sounds are muted.
And that is useful. If your voiceover inadvertently gets muted, you can use this gesture to turn it back on. Unless you create one, which is definitely possible, there is no keyboard command to mute and unmute voiceover. So having a trackpad is useful just for that feature alone. What about a 3-finger triple tap?
3-finger triple tap, toggle screen curtain on or off. Screen curtain hides all displays behind a black screen.
You also have your rotor. You can use it to navigate Safari as you would on iOS.
Rotate clockwise, next rotor item, switches to the next rotor item. Rotate counterclockwise, previous rotor item, switches to the previous rotor item.
And now, okay, first of all, what happens if I just do a 2-finger double tap?
2-finger double tap.
It doesn't do anything. So we can't use a 2-finger double tap or a magic tap to hang up or answer a call or play music. But if we put 2 fingers at the top of the Mac or the top of the trackpad and define that, I am going to locate the space bar using my second or index finger, then move down,
touch,
and then I'm in the middle of the trackpad and I can tap 2 fingers twice.
2-finger double tap top, go to menu bar, moves
Or
voiceover cursor to the menu bar.
I could tap 2 fingers at the bottom middle.
2-finger double tap bottom, go to dock, moves voiceover cursor to the dock. Touch.
Or I could tap 2 fingers at either side of the trackpad. On the left.
2-finger double tap top, go to menu bar, moves voiceover cursor to the menu bar.
So I struggle with spatial orientation, and I thought I put 2 fingers at the left. I'm sure I did, but it was still too much at the top. As I said, there's not really a solid barrier between the keyboard and the trackpad, so for me it's sometimes hard to locate myself or orient myself. But here we go, 2 fingers at the left.
2-finger double tap left, open application chooser, brings up a list of currently open applications.
That is actually really useful because the application chooser will show system dialogues, and I'll try to give an example of that sometime in this course.
2-finger double tap right, open window chooser, brings up a list of currently opened windows.
So if you have several windows open in one app, that's a good way to get to them. Okay, so there are other Mac-specific gestures, such as interacting, and I'm not really going to go into what that is and when you would interact, but on the trackpad, you flick 2 fingers right.
2-finger flick right, start interacting with item, further inspection inside the item, allows keyboard control.
Or 2-finger flick left.
2-finger flick left, stop interacting with item, stops interacting with item, focus voiceover cursor out to inspect surrounding items.
And you can also use the trackpad with other commands by holding down modifier keys. And if you create your own commands, you'll be asked to pick a modifier to use with that. So you hold down, let's say command. And then if I do the rotor twist.
Rotate clockwise, increase volume, increases the voiceover volume.
Or if I hold down the option.
Rotate counterclockwise, decrease pitch, decreases the speech pitch.
Or control.
Rotate clockwise, increase rate, increases the speech rate.
So that is one way to adjust attributes with the trackpad, and I'll go over the keyboard way of doing that in a little bit. Another gesture, which you can also use on iOS, is the scrub gesture. And here, you'll see what that does.
2-finger scrub, escape, exits the current mode. Stopping keyboard help.
Okay, we've gone through keyboard help, both using the keyboard and the trackpad. Now let's actually use the trackpad to get into the menu bar and the dock. There is no trackpad command to go to the desktop, but I am going to bring us to the desktop with VO Shift D, because that's a great way to get oriented. It's a great place from which to launch apps, open folders, since the desktop is part of the Finder. It's a good place to start from.
Desktop group.
Okay, now let's go to the menu bar with a 2-finger double tap at the top middle of the trackpad. Again, I'm going to attempt to find my space bar and move down, and then put my 2 fingers and tap twice.
Menu bar, Apple.
Okay,
You are currently on a menu bar item. To open this menu, press Control, Option, Space.
There are several ways to open menus, and I've alluded to this, but a limitation of VoiceOver Hints is that VoiceOver doesn't know what you're trying to do. It can only suggest one action. But let's flick right to move among the menus on the menu bar.
iBUG, Alias.
Oh.
Dropbox, Alias.
Okay,
Actions available. You are currently on Alias. To open.
There, I did a 2-finger tap to pause the speech. Again, this is a limitation of the trackpad. I was trying to flick left and flick right, but it took us out of the menu bar. We'll try going to the menu bar one more time, and if that doesn't work, I'll have to turn VoiceOver off and back on. So here we go, 2-finger double tap top.
Menu bar, Apple.
And flick
You are
right.
currently on iBUG, Alias,
Nope.
Dropbox.
Okay, we're having some trouble. So sometimes we can adjust some VoiceOver navigation items in the VoiceOver utility to make the trackpad a little bit easier.
Siri
but I'm
button.
just going to turn
You are
VoiceOver
currently on
off and back on.
VoiceOver Off.
And let's turn it back on.
VoiceOver on Finder, Desktop,
Okay.
Dropbox, Alias.
Let's go to the menu bar.
Actions available.
All right, let's stop that speech. So here we go, menu bar.
Menu bar, Apple.
And flick
You are
right.
currently on Finder, File.
So I'm
Edit.
flicking right, and we're
You are
seeing the
currently on a
different
menu view.
bar items.
You
If
are
I
currently
flick
on a-
left, we go backwards.
Edit, File, Finder, Apple.
And
You
I
are
could either
currently on a
double
menu bar
tap
item.
to
Apple.
open this menu, or I could do a 1-finger flick down, which I'm going to do.
Apple menu 10 items. About this Mac.
I'll double
You are
tap
currently
on
on a
About
menu
This
item.
Mac.
To choose this menu item, press Control, Option, Space. To close this menu, press Escape.
So it tells us what to do with the menu item, to either open it or get out.
About this Mac. Application. About this Mac. Window. System report button has keyboard focus.
So I could flick
You are
left.
C02V Serial and Intel H graphics.
It kind of
You
puts
are
us in the
currently
middle
on a
of the
text
screen.
element.
I could try to put my finger on the left-hand side.
About this Mac roundel image. You are
Okay,
currently
so
on
if
an
I
image.
put my finger near the left, then we do start. So you can use a combination of Explore by Touch or
Mac
flicking.
OS Big's toolbar.
Actually, no,
You
that
are
didn't
currently
even
on-
quite work. Okay, I'm just going to open the dock. So one great thing about the Mac is you can get to the dock from anywhere. You don't need to be on the main screen. And to do that, I will do a 2-finger double tap at the bottom.
Dock. Audio hijack. Open. 24 of 27.
That was the last app
Actions
I had open.
available.
Again,
You are currently on an application dock item. To open this application, press Control, Option, Space. To show
Okay.
expose, press Control, Option, Command, Space first to bring up the action menu.
I apologize. I do keep trying to cut VoiceOver off, but let's say I can just flick left.
VLC text edit. Microsoft Word separator. System preferences. App Store 18 pages. Set numbers.
Or I can flick
16
right.
of pages. App Store 18 of 27. Action pages.
let's
Numbers.
flick
Keynote
left.
News. Podcast. Music. TV. Notes. Remind. Contact. Calendar. FaceTime. Photos. Mail. Messages. 1 new. Safari 2 of 27.
So we're at Safari,
Actions available.
then
You are current.
I could double tap with 1 finger to open it.
Application. About this Mac. Safari. Start page.
Okay, and I just cut off the speech. Now let's use the keyboard to get to those areas of our Mac. And the first thing I'll do is VO Shift D
Completion
to go to our
selected.
desktop.
Desktop group. Actions
and we
available.
are on the desktop. We've heard what it says, but if you want to move between items on the desktop, you could use VO left and VO right,
Dropbox. iBUG. Alias.
or you could
Actions
flick on the
available.
trackpad,
Mac recordings.
doing.
Mac record. iBUG. Alias. Dropbox.
or you could tab.
iBUG. Alias. Mac recordings, alias.
I can use my
Action,
down arrow
iBUG,
a little
Dropbox.
bit. There's a number of ways you can use to move from item to item on the desktop. Now let's go to our menu bar. And I'm going to be navigating the menu bar just using my arrow keys and enter. Well, here are the hints to open the menu with VO space, but that isn't necessary. So here we go. Let's go to the menu bar with VOM.
Menu bar, Apple.
And we're
You
on
are currently on a menu
Apple.
bar item.
Okay, we know what the hint is, so I'm cutting the voiceover speech off. I'll just press right arrow.
Finder, File, Edit, View, Go.
And let's
You
say
are
we
currently
wanted
on
to
a menu
open
bar
Go. We can do that. This will say VO space, which we could press, but why use the VO keys when we don't need to? We are going to the menu bar and moving around as if we were not using VoiceOver. By just using the arrow keys by themselves, we are operating the Mac like anybody else would using a keyboard. So down arrow.
Go, menu 18 items.
Pressing down arrow once opens the menu, and then pressing down arrow one more time will go to the first menu item. If a menu is jumpy, if it skips past items, then I may use VO up and VO down to go through the menu. And so VO up and down will provide a little bit more consistent navigation. But if I don't want to hold down the VO keys, I can just use the arrows by themselves. Here we go.
Back, dimmed command, left bracket.
And again,
You are currently on a menu item.
we see the menu items with their associated keyboard shortcuts.
Forward, dimmed command, right bracket. Enclosing folder command, up arrow. Recents command shift, F. Documents command shift, O. Desktop command shift, D. Downloads command option, L. Home command shift, H. Computer command shift, C. AirDrop command shift, R. Network command shift, K. iCloud Drive command, Applications command, Utilities command, Recent folders, submenu.
Okay.
You are currently on a menu item. To choose this menu item, press Control, Option, Space. To close this menu, press Escape.
So we were told that we're on a submenu, but notice the voiceover hint is no different than those we've heard for all the menu items. When you go into a submenu, you may use the right arrow to open the submenu.
Recent folders, submenu 11 items 98.6 the mix public folder.
And
You are
so that's
currently
the
on
recent folders. If I want to close the menu, I could hit escape or I could just use left arrow.
Go, menu 18 item.
So right and left arrow have two purposes in the menu bar. They move from menu bar category to menu bar category, or once within a menu bar category, they will expand a submenu, expand or collapse. Okay, that
Go to
is
folder
the
edit.
menu bar. Let's actually press escape.
Closing menu, Dropbox, alias.
And we can
Actions.
also use first letter navigation to move in the menu. So let's say I wanted to go into the Apple menu and open System Preferences. I could just press VOM
Menu bar, Apple.
and then
You
down
are
arrow
Apple menu 10 item.
and then
System
SY
preferences.
and then enter.
System preferences, window.
And that's one way. So there's basically a couple of ways to navigate the menus, either with your trackpad or using the arrow keys or VO and the arrow keys or first letter navigation. I personally just prefer the arrow keys and first letter navigation. All right, and that is a good place to stop for now. Next time we'll continue with that. We will go into menu extras, how we get to that with the keyboard. There is also ways on the keyboard to get to the application chooser. And I will talk about my pet peeves with the trackpad, which is just not very efficient for me. But then next time we will go into the VoiceOver help menu and looking at a couple of categories in the VoiceOver utility and then system preferences and customizing a few accessibility settings. So now is the time. If you have questions, go ahead and unmute, say your name, and then let me know because we have a few minutes left. All right. Oh. Okay, so, oh, hello.
This is Michelle. You mentioned early on that the recordings would be through Dropbox.
Yes.
Can you tell us? I've never used Dropbox, so how do I find out about being able to access those?
Okay, so you don't necessarily need to have Dropbox. You'll just be able to double tap on the link or go to it, whether, click on it, whatever, VO space, and that will open up the recording and you'll be able to listen right there on the Dropbox site.
Okay.
Or you could download it, but you don't need Dropbox.
Okay, thank you.
And I think we had Eugene join us. Are you the 626 phone number? All right.
This is Sri.
Yes. Hi, Sri.
Question: when you were flicking right on the touch bar, can you also flick on the trackpad to do the same, or you can only do it on the touch bar?
No, you can do the same on the trackpad. That's what I was attempting to do, going through the dock and going through the menu bar. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
This is Doc Wright.
Yeah. Hi, Doc.
So since I'm planning on growing up to the MacBook next February. So below that touch bar, is that where the number row would start?
Yes.
All right, that gives me a better picture then.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's a bit. I don't use that. I prefer to use my keyboard. I can use the touch bar, but I just prefer using my external keyboard. But I'm glad that helps.
I'm like that with any laptop.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just much more efficient for me to keep my fingers on the keyboard. But since the trackpad is a part of VoiceOver, I felt, I had to cover it a little bit. Well, so anyway, thank you. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah. If you don't mind, I mean, because you know how the trackpad, it looks like one big button, like because you push down and it's like one big.
Yes.
So would you have to press
No.
down with these commands? Oh.
No, you just you don't have to press down at all. You can flick or tap. I mean, like, you're kind of you're tapping on it, but you don't actually have to press it in. That's something called force touch. And that is, I don't think I don't remember, but I think not all the trackpads support that and it's kind of being taken away. So yeah, you don't have to push in, but that's a great question.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Well, I think then. Oh, we've got 3 minutes. I was just wanting to give everybody time to ask questions. I know that was some of the basics. Next time we will pick right back up. And this is probably the only time you will ever hear me refer to the trackpad. I'll mention trackpad gestures when we get to Safari, but I felt like I should just cover it real quick. So that's what I did. So if there are no other questions, we did have somebody who came in a little bit later. So if you don't mind identifying yourself, and you'll need to do that with *6 to unmute, that would be great.
Hi, Chanel.
Hi.
Hi, Chanel. This is Eugene. Sorry
Hi,
about
Eugene. Oh, no problem. Okay.
Really quick, since I was late, are we following along on our MacBooks are we actually turning on VoiceOver and trying to do the commands that you're walking through? It was a little fast, so I'm just wondering how.
Yeah, I know it was fast. The best thing, really, it's to give you an idea. I don't recommend trying to follow along, but I do recommend once you get the recording, going through that, and then you can slow that down at your own pace.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
No, got it. I totally missed that probably at the beginning. So.
No, that's okay. That's all right. We do try to start promptly at 7, and I mentioned there's like people can come in at 6:30 to ask questions. So yeah, thanks for coming,
Okay,
and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Yeah.
Hey,
All
Chanel,
right.
it's Elvia.
Hi.
Hi. Yes, I'm glad you asked that question because I was going to ask the same thing. I thought you did a really great job, but it was just too fast. And I was trying to do what you were doing, but say, wait, she's going too fast. Stop.
I know.
Oh,
It
okay,
is fast.
good.
That's the thing with the group thing, we don't have time to do for everybody to kind of go through it,
Right.
unfortunately.
That's okay, but it was very well done. Very well
But if
done.
if you come and you're trying to work through it, you
Mhm.
come on Tuesday, come early and say, I just can't work through this, and you try to tell me what you're doing or whatever, I'll be more than happy to help.
Okay, I look forward to getting the recording so I could slow it down a little bit and then just do it, pause, do it, pause, do it, pause. That'd be great.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, if there are yes.
This is Doc again.
Hi, Doc.
One more piece of information. I just learned this earlier this morning.
Ooh, all right.
VoiceOver tutorial. Be aware that the voice you hear there is a recording.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
because I tried my best to see about speeding it up because it talks so
I
slow.
know.
But
And
that's all a recording.
Yeah, and I had my Mac really slow, and so normally my speech rate is actually at about 60%. But for this first lesson, I had it. What I did, if people in general want me to keep it that slow, I don't mind, but I have no problem speeding it up a little bit too. So that's good to
Being
know.
that I'm a newbie, this is Elvia. I like it the way it was in that speed. I could understand you. If it goes faster than that, you would definitely lose me.
Okay, yeah, like we were talking about the voiceover rate. So, okay, I will keep it at that speed. Does anyone else have a thought on that, or is leaving it at 45% a good idea?
That would help me.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Oh, that would help me.
Okay, great. I will leave it there. Okay, sounds good. All right, well, I'm going to end the meeting. Thanks everyone for coming. I will be sending out an email probably tonight or early tomorrow, so be looking for that. And I will see you back here next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chanel.